is my piece, Amongst Clouds, and I hope you enjoy it. Have you met the upside down girl? When she jumps, she reaches for the ground. When she trips, she scrapes her knees against the sky. And when she's sad, we tell her to turn that frown right side up. How odd she must have been. A baby crawling across the ceiling. Then a toddler stumbling across them. And finally a young woman walking, running, jumping, and yes, when she was cranky, sometimes even stomping across them. Her affliction allowed for some rather unique challenges for her. See, she soon learned to sew these flaps over her pocket so things wouldn't fall out. There was a time that she wore a dress to school and she ended up stapling the bottom of it to her socks so it wouldn't, Our parents would always tell us not to think any differently of her. They always said, she is just as human as you or me. But then, of course, they were also hypocrites. Eat your vegetables and you'll end up like the upside down girl. But I will admit there was something different about her. I mean, apart from the obvious, of course. See, she was always so real, alive, there, so full of this energy that you just don't seem to find in people. And she always looked for the good in everything. I guess you could say that there was no bringing that girl down. Ha ha. Yeah. But kids, they sure tried to. I remember them around her one day, almost in a mob, casting stones as their questions. Casting questions as their stones. One of them would say, "Why don't you float away?" And her reply was, "Why don't you sink into the ground?" "Well, can you climb trees? Like up towards the sky?" "Well, can you walk down a mountain pass where it goes into the ground?" It was quiet as they fished for another good one, until somebody blurted out, "Well, how do you pee?" I laughed, I'll admit it. But then I realized I was just kind of watching this all unfold, just letting it all happen in front of me, and she looked really uncomfortable. So without even thinking, I just ran into that creek, and I grabbed her by the hand, and I looked up at her face, and she looked down, and guess what would be up? Into mine, and she smiled. And together, hand in hand, we ran away from those inhumane creatures. Our friendship, it formed very quickly. Then it also formed very slowly. It was weathered and tempered, and it grew to resist those things that just tear people apart. See, she learned who I was, and in return, I learned what she was. She was relatable. She was human. Penelope was a very comfortable sort of person. You sort of compare your big problems to her everyday struggles, and yours suddenly seems so small, so non-existent. And yet, no matter what she had to go through, she was always there with a smile on her face. But then I would often berate myself for wondering about her. See, there were all these little things, like how she always carried something soft around to feel. But did she really feel like us? Or how about this art that she was always looking at? Does she see things like we do? Or is it this backwards, twisted vision? Well, that would be impossible, wouldn't it? But then I guess it would be impossible for a girl to be upside down. Well, whatever, not like it would even matter, even if it were true, right? Yet even still, I would watch her daydream sometimes and wonder, what does someone who's so happy, so content with her life, even have to dream about? Well, I found out one day. See, I was sitting on my lawn, and she came and sat on the lowest branch of the tree that was shading me. Her legs were crossed, and I had known her long enough to know that meant something was wrong. So I glanced at her face, and I became terrified, because on it was this deep pain, this anguish I had never seen before, and I was afraid she might make me feel. She heaved a sigh to fill the heavens twice over. I hated that. And I knew that she knew that I hated it when people sighed. So I turned to face her, and I said, Yes, Penelope. Sometimes I feel like you just don't get it. Well, actually, I don't, and I don't really see how you could expect me to. But I want to be able to help you, so help me understand. What if all of your fundamental truths were wrong? I was dumbstruck. What? I mean, what if you had to be told that your sky was not the sky? My skies are green, and my ground is blue, but of course you hold the majority. And what if we're both to drop something in the same place? Why is it that I have to search the heavens and you get to search the ground? Or these doors, the very same ones that tall men must duck under, I have to jump or climb over? What if every single part of your world was wrong? I do not love this world or any of the fine things in it. How can I? Well, then, what do you live for? How do you live? My dear, I live for people, for my friends. I live for love, for nothing less than life itself. It was a beautiful, touching sort of statement, and it summed her up perfectly. I'll admit, I even shed a tear at that. But then it made me question myself. What did I live for? Certainly not the same things as her. And in that moment it became so clear how she was truly different from us. And I said, you, with your frightening strangeness, with your perfect ideals that you actually practice, you're not really one of us at all. And I felt that deep pain and that anguish I had been afraid to feel. And I felt that tear that I had shed crawl up the side of my cheek and drop into the ever-infinite sky.